Hey, you guys. Hey. Okay, y'all. So I am back with part two. This is part two of the path of the chosen. Okay. This is part two of the path of the chosen. If you have not listened to part one already, maybe check that one out first. So what this basically is, you guys, I just got to give y'all the intro to this. Towards the end of last year, God started giving me prophetic messages through movies. And he started doing it with the Kung Fu Panda. And I mean, literally full blown prophetic messages. Through the movie, he was talking the whole time. And it was like he was giving me notes as if to prepare, for a time in the future, right? And so I shared part one already. And like I mentioned in part one, these notes, this recording that I'm about to share with you all, this is a recording that I made for myself. I was literally just taking notes for myself. I never had any intentions on sharing these recordings with anybody. God was speaking and I was just taking notes, like normal. So I didn't intend on sharing it. Okay, y'all. So later, God did tell me that he wanted me to share the notes I took. That notes weren't just for me, but they were for some of you as well. So he wanted me to share them. So I just got to give y'all a little, I guess, warning, so to speak, that since I'm taking notes for myself, I was talking real fast, y'all. I was braiding my daughter's hair, and I would pause the movie and had to stop braiding her hair in between to take notes. So I was talking really fast, and I was just saying what was necessary for me to understand what God was saying for me in my situation, okay? But I'm still going to share it because I believe someone will get something out of this. This is for someone more than me because God put it on my heart to share it. What I will do later for this particular word, I'm pretty sure he's going to have me go back over this as a whole word later in the future. Okay, now, the path of the chosen from the Kung Fu Panda 1 movie, that one was more so like what we've all been dealing with. A lot of people, a lot of y'all who follow this channel, I believe, are like it's like the many are called but few are chosen, okay? Jesus is Lord. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all, I'm tired. I'm trying to get all this stuff done, but I'm tired. And so anyways, the first part one was basically like the path that we've been on so far, trying to get in position, trying to answer the call, and what it's been like trying to answer the call. That's what part one was like, okay? From what God showed me. Now for part two, what God had me sensing from part two is what it's going to be like as we walk into the promises. Okay? So part two is like what it's going to be like for some people as these kingdom marriages come together, as these businesses come together, as these things that God has promised them come together, as they come into these new homes or these new places that God has promised them. As that prodigal child comes home, whatever God has promised you, Jesus is Lord, whatever he's promised you, this is part two. What I was getting from God more so pertains to us entering into some of the promises, and how the enemy will come in and try to test some of the promises. The enemy always desires to steal. So he's going to come in and he's going to test that marriage. He's going to test those different things that God will be giving us. He will come in and try to find a way in and try to steal. So part two pertains to some of that, but then also trauma. Jesus is Lord. It pertains to some trauma. God was telling me, he showed me in a dream I had towards the end of last year, that as we enter into these promised places and we transition, he will be transitioning a lot of us to a place of healing, okay? A lot of us will be entering into a place of healing. Some of y'all will be going into these kingdom marriages God promised you, and he will be healing you from the traumas, from the people he separated you from. He knows the separations that we've been going through have not been easy. And during this time, a lot of us will be healing as he transitions us to our next place, okay? Jesus is Lord. So this is what part two pertains to from what I was getting from him. Why I think I may actually go over it again as the actual full word, but for now I'm going to release it out of obedience with my notes as is. But it's pertaining to the trauma that we're going to have to heal from, how we're going to have to trust God once we're on the other side, because the enemy will still be attacking, and how we can't be a slave to that trauma, but we're going to have to trust God and heal from it, and, just different tactics of the enemy, okay, you guys? So I'm going to let y'all listen to it, and I pray it blesses whoever it's for. And also, you guys, remember this. I said this is a recording for myself. And so towards the end of this recording, around this time, me and my daughter, we had a cold. And so we were a little congested. But towards the very end of this recording, my daughter fell asleep on my lap. And she was snoring so loud. You could still hear me, but y'all gonna hear her snoring too when she's congested. So y'all forgive me, but I wasn't planning on sharing this. This was just supposed to be for me, and I just tuned it out. So, because I was used to it, so I just tuned out the snoring. But you could still hear the message, towards the end and throughout, okay? But anyways, I love y'all so much. And I pray that this blesses whoever it's for. And I'm pretty sure God is probably going to have me do a full word on this later. But this is what we're about to walk into, what a lot of people are about to walk into. Those marriages, that assignment, and healing from those traumas. And trusting God along the way. Okay? All right, y'all. I love y'all so much. And here's the message. Okay, so I'm on Kung Fu Panda 2 now. And in the beginning, from what I could see, basically, he has a new community, right? He is broken in his purpose as the Dragon Warrior, and he has a new community of support and love. I'm talking about Tigers, and in the beginning, they're showing him support and love. He's in a training room, but he's supported and he's surrounded by love now. And he has this new community of friends, that are cheering him on and that are with him. He's no longer on his own like that. And he's walking into his purpose. When he goes to meet with his master is telling him he's doing training on inner peace, right? And how he can find inner peace. Something that came to mind with this movie. How, I haven't gotten to the end of it yet, but just from me remembering from watching it before, Poe surpasses his teacher, right? It's his master. He called him his master on here. My master's God. I will never surpass God. But there will be people that God puts in position for me to learn from. And once I'm walking into position in my calling at the level I'm supposed to, and, he's growing and surrounding me around, people after his own heart and whatnot, and I won't feel so alone in it. I will have people teachers, right, who I can learn from, but I will surpass them quickly. So his master is working on learning some things right now. Like some things, it took him a while to learn. He said some people learned it by going through a period of isolation and fasting and being to themselves for long periods of time. Others went through it after going through a long period of painful things. And that's how they were able to finally find inner peace, trusting in God and not basically around what they see, right? And now it's how they found inner peace. It wasn't about everything that was going wrong around them or the people that was wrong around them. It was about their trust and faith in God, identifying themselves through God, their identity found in God, and God being their source, and was able to look past everything else. And so, yeah, that's about it. But God just reminded me, though, that he did surpass his teachers a lot. Okay. In the beginning, when Poe's master called him in the cave for an assignment, Poe was ready to fight. He thought it was going to be the same assignments he was doing before, like fighting like a warrior in that way. But it was a different assignment, a new assignment. And he wanted him to find inner peace. That was going to be his next assignment, mastering how to do that, learning how to do that. He had established that. Poe's master, his teacher had established that. That was the final lesson he got from the turtle from the previous movie. And now he was telling Poe, he was calling him in the cave with him for the assignment. He thought it was going to be war, fighting the way he normally did, but this was a different assignment, and he wanted him to master inner peace. And that's the part where he was saying some people found it through fasting for long periods of time. Others found it from going through a great deal of pain. Okay, I just wanted to add that. I know this is prophetic to something God is speaking to me, and I just want to add all the details he's given me because this is for me personally. He called inner peace the next phase of his training. And he said once he found the flow of inner peace, he was able to harness the flow of the universe. Of course, that's not what this is. So it's like once you find inner peace, you'll be able to harvest the flow of God. Once you find inner peace, learn to trust God, you will be able to harness the flow of God within you, the God-given gifts that he's given you, and how he wants to live and move through you and use your vessel. He'll better flow freely through you as you learn to harness this. As you come into inner peace. Basically, that's what I was getting. You'll learn how to better harness the flow of God, his spirit in you, that as he uses your vessel for his will on this earth. So after that conversation with his master, he ended up leaving the cave because there was like an emergency event. The village was being attacked. And so when he gets to the village being attacked and he goes to defend the village, he's like, he's going to work on inner peace another time. The first thing he comes through to is Jesus is Lord. I just saw that Jean-Claude Van Damme is in this movie. I don't know how I missed that. So the first thing he gets to is he's fighting these crocodiles or whatever. And Jesus is the Lord. I had a dream about crocodiles. I gotta look that up. And this is like, God has been mentioning this creature to me a lot recently. So he gets to the village and there are crocodiles. He's fighting them. They're doing well. They're winning. And then he's triggered by this little logo thing on his outfit. And it brings up a memory of past trauma. It basically brings up a memory of when he lost his mom, the last time he saw his mom. And he didn't remember his parents, right? He thinks the duck is his father. And they never had a conversation about him being adopted. They never had that conversation. So anyways, he sees something that triggers his past trauma, and then he has to go looking for answers. He has to figure out where he came from. He goes to his duck father to ask him where he came from. His duck father finally comes clean about him being adopted. But it's only so much he can tell him. So he has very limited information from his duck father. He has more questions, not enough answers, and he's trying to figure out where he came from and who is he. So now, after his master telling him the next stage was to learn about inner peace, he goes head first into a conflict that introduces him, takes him into childhood trauma, memories that he's buried, that caused him to go looking for answers about who he is and where he came from. Okay, so after this, Poe gets sent on this major mission. It's like an immediate mission he has to do that is threatening everything that he just got, right? He just got his dream, which was the Kung Fu. And so his dream is just being fulfilled. His people surrounding him, all those things that he wanted, he has. And now it's all being threatened by this unknown weapon. And he has to go on a mission to defeat this thing that poses a threat to defeat his dream, that poses a threat to defeat him and everything he just attained. This new enemy literally is like in opposition to everything he just got. It's going to try to come up against everything he just got and attained. And so he's like, how do I defeat something that has the power to defeat me? That's the question he asked. This thing has the power to defeat Kung Fu. How am I supposed to defeat something that has the power to defeat Kung Fu? How am I supposed to defeat something that has the power to defeat me? And his teacher says, you defeat it with inner peace. Jesus is Lord. So you're going to be defeated with peace in the Father, trust in the Father. But anyways, his answer is you defeat it with inner peace. When you attain inner peace, you'll better defeat it with inner peace. And that's his answer to him. And little does he know, the thing he's going off to war with that is targeting everything he just attained, that is coming after everything he just attained, that poses the biggest threat to everything he just got, to him living his dream. That's going to be the thing that opens up the door for him to better understand his trauma, to heal, really heal from his trauma. But things are going to have to be open and exposed, things that he didn't know, things that he weren't aware of. He was about to have to face some fears. But it was going to every last bit of it was going to all be for his good. All of it was going to be for his good. And you know what's coming to mind. I don't know how God is going to do this, but say, this is when he brings me and my kingdom spouse back together. He let me know we will be tested. Our relationship will be tested. Our marriage will be tested. This brings that's what's brought to mind. That the thing, the people, the person or whatever who might try to come back to test it, to harm it, even though it's something I don't want to deal with, I will better defeat it with God's help, with inner peace and who God created me to be. It will be a defeated foe, but it will also help heal some things as well, even though it's something I don't want to deal with. And that's something that, God has brought to mind. All right, that's it. So as he's setting out on his mission to defeat things that have the possibility to try to defeat him in the dream that he finally, is living, he's keeping the people of his past, like his dad, his adopted father. He, has been revealed to him. He's keeping them at a distance. He's keeping his adopted father at a distance because he doesn't know how to feel. He needs to process some things. So while he's fighting one of the biggest enemies he's ever had to face, that's threatening everything that he just attained, he's keeping his father, the people of his past, from the past traumas and anything related to that. He's keeping them at a distance because he doesn't know how he could do both, how he can fight this big enemy and still deal with his past trauma. So it's like he's putting space between the people in his past that he's not sure about, that he doesn't know how he feels about yet. He hasn't had time to process his feelings. So he's putting distance between him and his father. He's going off to leave, but he's putting emotional distance. He's not the same as he's speaking to him, loving, hugging. It's emotional distance he's putting between him and his adopted dad because he doesn't know how he feels and he hasn't had time to process it. And he's facing a big enemy. So that's just something that I noticed. God told me there would have to be boundaries for people in my past, and I don't know how long, if it's going to be forever or if it's going to be temporary, from family and, things of that nature that he's shown me. So I just want to add that. And again, when he was going off the fight, he has a moment with his father where he's telling him the situation. I basically got to go fight for everything I love, like the things that I just gotten or whatever. And he's like, if I don't have this, and everything I fought for, what am I? What am I? Who am I? What do I do? And who am I? And his adopted father is like, you're my son. And Poe looks at him like he's not so sure, So it's even him just trying to figure out if he even still wants to be his son. So in the process, God knows I've needed time to process some things. I believe God is going to give me the time and space to process if I even want to continue with these relationships or not. And when he goes on that mission, he will have time to process that, if he still even wants to, be in that position of being his son or not. As Poe goes on his mission and they're asleep on the boat on the way to their mission, he has a dream, a nightmare of his parents rejecting him for a radish. So he doesn't know anything about his real parents. All he can do is speculate. All he knows is he was found in a box of radishes. So with the limited information he knows, he has a nightmare showing a lie, basically, that his parents didn't want him and they wanted a radish instead of him, like the worst possible lie he could think of. And what God brought to mind is, as you're going on your mission to defeat the enemy may give you dreams showing you lies, showing you the opposite of what God promised you, showing you defeated, or showing, basically the opposite, the very worst case scenario opposite of what God promised you. And God also was showing me this as a witchcraft tactic, that female maybe doing witchcraft or whatever to cause you to have dreams showing you her victory, or basically the opposite of what God showed you, that person having what God said was for you. And it's a lie, and it's just a tactic from the enemy, and it's something to, try to defeat you before you even get there to fight. The enemy knows he's going to lose. It's already been prophesied. Like Poe, with this person he's about to fight, it's been prophesied to this person that he would be defeated by the panda. So he's already scared of him. And so it's trying to stop him along the way. It's a nightmare, a lie. That's not true, right? His foe is hiding behind lies. But in truth, his enemy is more scared because his enemy has been already heard the prophecy that that's where he meets his defeat. Okay, and then that lie leads to him having more feelings to process and not understanding and insecurities and It's frustrating because he's trying to focus on the mission, but also he's dealing with these feelings and, not sure who to talk to about it or how to express it. And he doesn't feel free enough yet to share with just anybody. He starts to talk to Tigress, but the conversation's interrupted. And he's just left, with all these feelings and trying to understand, but he still doesn't fully have all the answers yet. If when you're going through this, you may just have to rewatch this movie so you can, have better understanding and clarity. While he's having all these feelings, while Poe's having all these feelings, he's trying to play tough, but it's really, it's really aching on his heart. It's really bothering him, but he's trying to play tough and focus on the mission. Okay, so as they go along the mission, they discover that people that they thought were dead were still alive, right? It was some big leaders in this territory that they were going to, and they were told the leaders were dead. And when they get there, they discover they're not dead. They're in jail. So they go to try to free the leaders. It's this guy called Master Croc. And that's the one who Jean-Claude Van Damme is playing. And then there's this other master leader there. That's a legend or whatever. And they're like, we're going to get you out of jail. You're going to go take back, that area, right? And so they break down the bars, but the two leaders don't want to come out of the prison. They're giving up. They've gotten a place where they're giving up. They said Kung Fu is dead. And they are sitting in a place of choosing to stay in jail, choosing to stay in prison because they've given up. They lost hope. After the fall, after the defeat, they didn't get back up from it. And they were choosing to stay in jail. The Panda had opened the prison doors. They were trying to talk them into it. Like, come on, let's all go together and fight. But they were defeated in spirit, and they decided to stay in jail, even though the prison doors had been open and they could have left anytime they wanted. And truly, with them being the warriors they are, they could have probably broken themselves free anytime they wanted. By the way, this man was punching the gate to close it back and lock himself back up. And what God brought to mind is he might use you to try to help break some people free, some people who were on a mission, who lost hope, who suffered a fall, who struggled. They were knocked down, something happened. And now they've chosen to stay in a prison, self-built, well, I don't say self-built prison, but it's a choice because the door's open, but they're refusing to leave it. They've given up on their dream. They've given up on their purpose. These two people, their purpose was to protect that kingdom. They were masters of Kung Fu in that area. They had given up on their purpose. They had given up on Kung Fu. They had given up on a dream, on a vision, and they were choosing to stay locked behind prison doors. They were defeated in spirit. And God may use you to try to speak to some people who are defeated in spirit, who are ready to give up, or who already have given up. They're not dead. They're just imprisoned, and they've been defeated in spirit. And God may call you to speak to some of them to help bring them out of it. The Panda called their prison a prison of shame, defeat, and hopelessness, and they're in a place of despair as well. And basically, he was saying, y'all, okay, they've given up, but the Panda was refusing to give up. Even if they weren't going to fight, he was going to fight. So some people may give up. They may be hopelessness, but you cannot go into that state. You have to continue to persevere and fight. You are the dragon warrior. Okay, he's the dragon warrior. He can't quit. He's the leader the other leaders are looking to. Okay, he couldn't quit. He had to fight. Okay, there's something else God pointed out when Panda finally came face to face with the enemy, that he came there to defeat. The enemy didn't take him seriously. They didn't take him seriously. They looked him over. They was like, this is the warrior that's supposed to defeat me. They thought so highly of themselves. They didn't take him seriously. And what God was pointing out, if this is pertaining to once that relationship comes together with your kingdom spouse, the other person who's struggling to move on will not take it seriously. Because they're going to think like it's all the other times that we split up. But it's not. It's not like all the other times. So at first they may have a hard time taking it seriously. Even though it's been prophesied that this is the one that defeats you, like, hey, this is who he's supposed to be with, it's not you. They're going to still have a hard time taking it seriously. They're going to look at it like, really, this? No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to work. They're going to have a hard time taking it seriously. A lot of other people may have a hard time taking it seriously as well, but don't let any of that concern you. But God was just shedding light on his enemies. Poe was not what they expected. They had a hard time taking him seriously or whatever. He wasn't the warrior they expected. It wasn't the promise they expected or whatever. It didn't meet their expectations visually. And so they had a hard time taking him seriously. But that doesn't matter. And by the time they do take him seriously, it's going to be too late. And all they going to, I mean, it's already too late. It's already too late. So, but the point is, by the time they realize it, all they're going to better do is have a big old fit. They're just going to have a big fit once they realize they're really not going to win. They're really not going to get their way. Then, like God showed me with that woman, she's going to have a big old fit because she's not going to get her way no matter what. And then also how that enemy played a vital role to pose trauma. He took something from him, his parents, his childhood. He took years of his life. His life could have been different, and he knew he took it. But Poe didn't fully understand. He didn't know. But the enemy knew, and he kind of taunted him with it a little bit and was amused by it. And so that person may taunt you over what they know they took from you, the years, the time. They may taunt you. You know, you may not know the full story of everything in the background, but they're going to give you a false taunting to where, yes, they're taunting you because they know they took something from you, whether it be time or whatever, a life you could have had. But at the same time, they're going to be taunting you with lies of it. So he wanted to taunt Poe with lies of his past with his parents. Eventually, he's going to taunt him and make it seem like his parents didn't love him or want him, but that's a lie. And the thing is, he knows that Poe don't know the truth because Poe don't remember. Poe wasn't he didn't see everything. He saw what he did as a baby, but he don't even remember that. So since he knows that Poe doesn't know the truth, he know he took something from him. So he's going to taunt him with that, but he's going to he's going to mix truth with lies. So that person is going to try to mix truth with lies to taunt you. Okay? To taunt you. And yeah, he was with me, and making it seem like it's something it wasn't. Okay, that my kingdom spouse, that man was running. He didn't know, he was lost. Everything that happened needed to happen so God can do what he needs to do with me and in him for God's glory and for us to come into purpose and position. But that person is going to try to get me on a human level, on a flesh level, and taunt me to make me think it was something that it wasn't. So it's going to be truth mixed with lies. Yes, that was lost time between us. And it's yes, it seemed like you took them, but God allowed it for a purpose and for his glory, because it wasn't time for me and him to come together. Me and him came together prematurely. So it's going to be truth mixed with lies. Yeah, it may seem like you took him, and you may say, oh, it was like this and that and amazing with us, but that was a lie because it wasn't. You was just a pawn. God allowed it as long as you were useful. When the time was up, the time was up. And he what the devil meant for our good, God is going to bring out. I'm sorry, my bad. I meant to say what the devil meant for our bad, God is going to bring about our good. Okay, God is going to get the glory, and we're going to win. And every tactic is just going to be a blessing to us. But he's going to try to hit you at a flesh level with the taunting and the lies, because you weren't there, you didn't see. And you do have feelings. And the truth is, time was lost. But God is still good. And God is the author and finisher of our faith and of our story. Time can be given back only from the Father. All right. Then I'm seeing a time is 6:22. The number 22 at the recording is, which is double confirmation, double portion of what you lost. God has promised to give back recompense, a double portion. So for the time you lost, you got an additional double. But I claim triple. But the double portion that is promised to you, that is coming back with the time that was lost. So rest assured, for anything that was lost that the enemy tries to taunt you with, God is guaranteed that the thief has to give it back, and you will have double recompense in all of it and all things. And now we on 22 minutes, more confirmation. I see 222. It was 22 minutes and then 20 something seconds. Double. But I claim triple though. Okay. Okay, so continuing along in the movie, the panda faces his enemy again. He faces his enemy again. And his friends is telling him they're trying to actually keep him back, and they go back to the jail to have a meeting about what just took place, because it seemed like his enemy was kind of getting the best of him, and his friends want to know what's up. Because he keeps freezing when it's time to battle with this particular enemy, because his enemy is a part of the trauma that has hurt him emotionally. So his friends feel like he should stay in the jail and let them handle it, because they don't want to see him get hurt if he keeps going head to head with that enemy. And so Anyways, Poe doesn't stay in a jail. He's like, he needs answers. And he tries again to get answers from the peacock. That's his enemy out here. And he's not gonna get no answers. Like I was sharing before. I mentioned what God showed me before. The peacock showed lies. He mixed truth with lies. The peacock was there when his parents left. The parents left because the peacock was trying to destroy them, right? So it was like the peacock didn't help. He was the reason. He was the cause. He was the problem that ignited the pain, that the panda had to go through with his losing his parents. And so what God was showing is reminding me of, you're not going to get closure. You cannot get closure from that other person, that other woman. Nothing she tells you is going to help you get closure, understanding, or healing. She doesn't desire for you to have closure or healing. She desires to destroy you. She desires to destroy what God has built, what he's building with you and your kingdom spouse. Do not expect to get any type of healing or understanding or closure from her, because you will not. All she wants to do is destroy you with her words. So listening to her, entertaining her in the future, or anything she has to say, it can be to your detriment. She wants to destroy you. That's her intentions. She's miserable. Misery loves company. She is a loss. She is a defeated foe. She does not like that. Her talking to you, having your ear, is her only method or means to destroy you. She can't take back what you have. It was never hers to begin with. And now she has to face the truth that you are a formidable foe. You are the one that defeats her, right? The panda is the one that defeats him. He's scared. She's running scared. The only way she's going to try to destroy you with her mouth. That's the situation God brought up, if that is the situation. So you can't get closure from her. You can't get any understanding from her. You don't need to hear the words she's saying, because she's a liar. The peacock was a liar. So what he told him, because the panda's stronger than him, to throw the panda off course, the panda's like, tell me what happened. Tell me what happened. He wants to know what happened, because the peacock was there. The girl was there. I can't ask her what happened. She's going to lie. It's in her best interest to lie. She cannot help me get closure or healing. So Panda's like, tell me what happened. Tell me what happened. He's asking the person that was responsible for the death of his people to tell him what happened. A person who is scared of him, as he should be, because he knows that he's the only one who can defeat him. He's not going to tell him the truth. He's scared of him. They're enemies. And so the peacock tells him, your parents never loved you. Big old lie. The fattest lie the peacock could have told. His parents loved him dearly. It broke their heart. That's how much his parents loved him. It broke their heart. They cared so much about him, they had to get him to safety, even if that meant that he would be safe and they would die. That's how much he loved them. So he told him a lie. He never loved you. Your parents never loved you. Mm-hmm. Big old lie. And the panda ended up being attacked by the peacock's weapon, because while the peacock was lying, he took out this big weapon and shot him with it. And everybody thought the panda was dead. So this person, God saying, will not be able to give you closure. They're trying to send you to your death. And they're going to think they succeeded if you give them their ear. But the panda's not dead. He's recovering from that, that blow, but he is not dead. And he's going to come back. Now he's in a position and place where he's going to get the real truth. Because now he's been found by the little person. Their stuff is backwards here. It's like New Age, but God just has me flip it, to the right way. So this person, if you call it the right way, will resemble a prophet, even though it's showing the opposite. And this person is caring for him to get him back on his feet, right? So he's getting truth and knowledge from somebody who was there, who does know what happened, and who's a prophet who has insight and awareness as well. And so he's going to get the full truth and get the strength he needs to find inner peace and get back where he needs to be, right, to defeat this enemy. But something God has stood out is you're not going to be able to get closure from them. They're your enemies. Something else he brought up, family members, people he separates you from. Be okay with not having closure. You're not going to be able to get it for some of them, okay? The things they say, if they have no eyes and they can't see, they can't tell you no truth because they don't know truth. So you're trying to get closure, acceptance, people to admit their wrongdoings as a form of closure. If they want to be back a part of your life, you're not going to get that from them. Just like with that narcissist you're talking to, that twin flame thing, there was no closure. That relationship just had to end. I I exceeded my time with him because I kept looking for closure, and I had to realize I was never going to get it. I had to accept the fact I gave this man my heart. I love this man, but I would never get closure from him. He was incapable of giving it to me. He was wicked. If these people have wickedness attached to them, if their eyes are closed and they are deceitfully wicked in their hearts and spirits, and they have not experienced God on the same level you have or had their eyes open, do not expect any closure from them. Hearing their words will make it worse. God brought that up for family as well. If they want to say negative things to you, you don't even need to hear it, because it's just going to be a blow. The devil will use them to try to defeat you. The devil will use them to try to take you out. You're not going to get closure as long as they're blind. They're not going to speak truth. They're only going to speak lies. And it's going to be things that'll hurt you. And you don't even need to hear it because it's not true. And it's not helpful. It's harmful. The enemy is going to use whatever he can to try to harm you in this season. He's going to be throwing blows from all kind of places. So basically that's what God was showing me. But it will be with lies. Be okay with setting up firm boundaries. Do not give them your ear. And be okay with not having closure. Not from them. They can't tell you nothing. They can't speak over you. They don't know you. They don't know your situation. They don't even know truth. All they know is lies. They cannot tell you nothing. Do not give them your ear. It will not be beneficial. It's just an opportunity for the enemy to strike. Okay? Be okay with that. They can't help you get closure, but God can. God can help you get closure, but they cannot. Okay? Anyone who's blind and who has not accepted Christ and who has not surrendered to him and who has no eyesight to see, they cannot help you. The blind leading the blind cannot help you. God can. Okay, so after that, and he had that fall, and the person who was reflecting a prophetic person in the movie helps him find healing. Basically, he has to acknowledge his feelings. He doesn't want to remember. He doesn't want to feel all those feelings. The memory is there. He keeps seeing pieces of memory of him losing his mom, but not the full thing because it's a trauma for him. He blocks it out, but it's something he has to remember. He has to feel. Once he allows himself to feel what he truly feels, there's a freedom in that. Once he's able to find inner peace, he starts to do that physical thing he saw his master do in the beginning of the movie, moving his hands a certain way to find inner peace. When he does it, he's able to find, he does, it's like this little drop of water that he catches from the sky, and he maneuvers it around on his hand real cool like. And now he can do it just like his master did in the beginning of the movie. And when he does that, he's finding inner peace because he's allowing himself to feel. He's facing his fears of his feelings, of his trauma, of what he suffered and endured. And when he does that, he's able to see what happened in his village. He's able to see the peacock came in. The peacock destroyed his people. His mother running off to save him. He's able to see the full picture. And he doesn't need answers from the enemy anymore. He doesn't need the peacock to tell him what happened. It was already in him. And all he had to do was, the outside people can't help you heal. Those people the enemy used to destroy you cannot help you heal. So when he looked inwardly, when he allowed himself to feel, he was able to find healing and inner peace. Okay? This hurt. This is my past. This was so painful. This made me feel like this. I felt this low. I acknowledged that. And in the midst of that, and him acknowledging that, he was able to find inner peace. Okay, then after that, the prophetic lady said something so profound. So this is the scene.
Your story may not have such a happy beginning, but that doesn't make you who you are. It is the rest of your story.
So she says, your story may not have such a happy ending. Your story may not have, she said, your story may not have such a happy beginning. That's what she said. Your story may not have such a happy beginning, but that does not make you who you are, okay? So your story may not have such a happy beginning. Your story may not begin happy. Your story may not have such a happy beginning, but that does not make you who you are. The beginning of your story does not get to say who you are.
who you choose to be. But that doesn't make you who you are. It is the rest of your story, who you choose to be.
Then she says, it is the rest of your story, who you choose to be. And he's basically having a flashback of everything he's been through to become who he is in that present time. So your story does not make you, the beginning of your story does not make you who you are. It's who you choose to be. Right? It's who you choose to be. This part was profound when I first heard it, so that's why I'm like rewinding it. I want you to get the full.
That doesn't make you who you are. It is the rest of your story, who you choose to be.
So the beginning of your story does not make you who you are. It is the rest of your story. The rest of your story. What hasn't taken place yet, what you choose from here on out. It is the rest of your story. It is who you choose to be moving forward. And then after he thinks about everything he's been through to get to where he is now, she asks him the question, so who are you? Who is he deciding to be from here on out? Knowing everything he's been through, knowing the origin of his story, feeling what he's felt, accepting, hey, this is what happened. It was sad. It wasn't the best. It hurt. I wish it wasn't this way, but it was. I can't change it. Now, who am I going to be? Who do I want to be? What do I want for myself moving forward? What do I want for my life moving forward? So when she asked him, who are you, Panda? He says, I am Po, and I'm going to need a hat, right? So I am, him saying I am. It's acknowledging who he is in Christ, basically. Okay? He is the dragon warrior. He is I am. He is acknowledging I am in his life, who he was created to be, who his purpose to be, the name that he was given. He says his name, I am Po. And then he said, and he's going to need a hat. A hat is on your head. It's your crown, your glory. I am who God created me to be, and I am about to get in my position because he's about to go off and save his people because his friends have been captured. So now they need a warrior, and this is who he chooses to be moving forward. He chooses to be a warrior. I am. I am who God has created me to be, who he's called me, what he has named me, what he has crowned me as. This is my crown, my glory. I'm going to walk into it. I am a warrior, and I'm going to go do what I'm supposed to do, fulfill my purpose, a warrior's purpose. He's about to go defeat the enemy. He's about to go release his friends. They've been captured. He's about to go do his due diligence, his job. This is who he chooses to be moving forward. This is his present. This is his story. It's not his beginning, but this is his ending. Okay, something else God also showed me. You seeming defeated. So they thought Po was dead. His friends saw him get shot off by this big weapon. So everybody thought he was dead. It was the woman who seemed to be prophetic who was taking care of him and bringing him back to life and helping him find truth and peace and life and all that stuff. But his friends thought they witnessed his death. So when he's coming to go free his friends, you see them in a slumbered state. Tigress is supposed to be the one who is like strong and brave and always tough. And like the monkey or one of them is like, we can do this, right, Tigers? Po won't want us to give up. And she has nothing to say because she's defeated in spirit. So the strongest of them is taken down because they are followers of his. So if your defeat, it looked like he was dead, right? When it looked like their leader was dead, their friend or companion was dead, it broke in their spirit. It caused them to have a broken spirit, right? To feel low in their spirit. So God was saying, like, if your enemies try to take you down, if they succeed, it will affect those who are following you. It may cause them to feel lowly in spirit, it may cause them to find it hard to find hope. But when the panda came back and they saw he's alive, he didn't die, that awoken something in their spirit, right? That gave them hope, the people who was following him. Now, something different happened when Panda seemed to be dead. His master, his trainer, the one who was over him, right? The one he was following, felt it in the spirit. He saw it. He saw a sign of it. He knew he couldn't ignore it. He was far away in a different place. But when it looked like the panda had experienced death, he felt it. He saw it in the sky. And he knew he had to go. So he just knew it, right? So he had to be there for the one who was depending on him as a teacher. So he showed up. So it was different for those who were following him. They would experience a lowliness in spirit. For those that he was following, who was responsible for him, they would feel an urgency to come to his aid and his rescue. So he went across, he left from where he was to be where the panda was to help him fight, and he showed up. So when the panda came back and everybody saw, oh, he's alive, he awoken something. He gave hope to the people who were following him, and he was met with help from the people he followed, the people he looked up to, the people who he looks to, for hope and teaching and learning and growth. So he showed up, and the master crocodile and them in the beginning, who was chosen to be in a prison, they broken out the prison to show up. Something stirred in them to break them out too. And with him coming back to life, it seemed like it brought life to the end of the fight. Like everybody was showing up to fight, right? Even the people who were over him felt it, and they felt the need to show up. Something in them just hit, and they had to show up to fight. You will have people show up to help you when you are in need, people who are over you, people who you may see as greater, that you see them as teachers, you follow them. Something in them, God will cause their spirit to stir, the Holy Spirit in them to stir, to where they will show up because they will feel the need. Now, your followers will be discouraged if you are perceived dead. But those who you are following, who God has given a burden for you, a responsibility for you, something in them will be stirred, and they will show up for you in your time of need. And how that is however God leads, But now you got all these warriors ready to fight in this ultimate epic battle at the end. Because you're back from the dead, so people following you are celebrated. Hope has been restored. And then you got people who you were following who got the memo you needed help, and they showing up. And these are warriors of different caliber. So the enemy is all the way in trouble, okay? But you are not alone. Okay, so now there's a part where they're fighting and they're all going in this epic battle together, and the scene slows down, and Poe looks on his left and right, and he sees he's surrounded by friends, and these people are not blood relatives or anything like that to him. They are just friends, and they are his family. He's like, this is so cool. And he says out loud, I love you guys. So it's like he's in a place where he's surrounded by people that are actually after God's own heart, people that are actually there for him, that love him, that are not in competition with him, that want to see him win, that want to see him thrive, people that are okay with him being in a leadership position, people who actually love him or actually for him. He's surrounded by them, and they are helping him fight through this epic battle, this big battle. And that's a massive moment for him. God has promised to surround me with people after his own heart. And I've never known love or relationships like this before, like what he's promised. And these people will not be blood relatives to me, but they will be literal people after God's own heart. And it's going to be amazing, like something I've never experienced before. They'll be supportive, they'll be dependable, and they won't be jealous of me, and they'll support and respect my decision. And it will be iron sharpening iron, and us having each other back. It will be a community, a strong community of love. Okay, and so they're going to fight. And so when they're fighting, it gets to a point where the enemy, the peacock, pulls out this big old gun, big weapon. And Tigress pushes, the gun is aimed at Panda. Tigress, his friend, his teammate, pushes Panda out the way and takes a bullet for her. It's not even a bullet, it's a literal cannon, basically. And she takes the cannon for Panda with her hands. Now, her hands are so tough from practicing punching stills for years. And she said it got to the point where she don't even feel nothing because she's been punching stills for years. He's like, how long did it take for your hands to get that tough? He said, years of punching steel. He's like, oh, he can't do it for that long. And so she takes that bullet for him, that cannon, and it almost takes her out. And now she's in a weakened state. And all his friends he was just fighting with seems to be blown to pieces, like blown away. They're still alive, but they're all in weakened states after that bomb blows off. So Panda's now seeing his friends in a weakened state. He's standing by himself in this little spot in the ocean, and he's like, he has to fight for his friends. He finds inner peace. He's not in anger. He's not in rage. He's in a moment of peace. He's doing that little dance move his master teacher taught him to do to establish inner peace. And now he's in the mode. He's in the zone. And I'm thinking fasting is coming to play, spending time with the Father, finding that inner peace in the Father, fasting, and getting centered with the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Your power comes from Him. He is your source. God is your source, okay, and your strength. So he got to that place of peace and was in the zone to defeat his enemy. So here this enemy has a little cannon pointed at him. And he knows he has to fight for his people, fight what's important for him, to him. And he's doing it from a place of peace, a place of love, and a place of gratitude. He's grateful for everything he has, and he's going to protect it. So he's not screaming and yelling. It's a place from understanding. He's in a place of understanding, peace, and gratitude. And he's fighting this enemy with a cannon pointed at him. Mind you, this is the same enemy who has taken so much from him, right? He's taken things that he wanted and loved from him, right? His parents, his childhood, right? They're responsible for that. So anyways, when a cannon comes, he catches it. So there's no weapon. It's supposed to be it's supposed to be to have the power to defeat Kung Fu, to defeat his dreams. This cannon is supposed to have the power to defeat all the things he cares about and holds dear, and the things, this is God-given promises that are coming to mind, that are aimed at it. And they cannot defeat the promise. When you lock in with God and find peace with God and strength in God, you can stand 10 toes down and not be defeated by any weapon that is aimed at your promise. You will have peace, and you will have God. So he catches the cannon. He literally catches it and throws it back at the boat, and everybody's like, "What? This boy caught a cannon? He caught a bullet, a big old bullet cannon, basically." His hands on fire a little bit. It was that first catch. But everybody's like, they can't believe he caught it, right? What was sent to destroy him. Jesus is Lord. He rose up and gained power. He caught what was meant to destroy him and threw it back at his enemy. So what they fire at you is just going to come back at them to their detriment. Okay? Even after he defeated his enemy through what the enemy shot at him came back at him and destroyed his boat, his ship. So he even was still having grace on this person that took so much from him, that was trying to destroy him, that already took his parents, already took his childhood, took many years from his life. His beginning was not what he wanted it to be because of this person and the role they played in it. And he's facing them. And instead of facing them out of hatred, he's doing it out of love, out of understanding and peace and acceptance. Okay? He may have not had the beginning he wanted, but he's grateful for what he has now. And the person was like, how did you do it? How did you find peace? How were you, able to be this calm fighting him? This person is fighting, the peacock was fighting Panda out of hatred. And Panda had all this peace. How are you able to be like this? Knowing what I took from you, knowing what I did to you, knowing what I've said to you, how are you able to be so calm? How come I can't shake you? How come I can't destroy you with my words? How come everything I did to destroy you didn't work? How are you still able to be like this? And I'm just so messed up on the inside. How are you still able to be happy? How are you still able to be a good person? And I'm just this, what they're choosing to be. Horrible, hateful, whatever. And so the panda's just like, he found inner peace. He's grateful for the things in his life. And he's speaking in soft and kindness to this person. And it's like they're having a moment and you think that something's going to click and this person is able to get it. Right? You think they're going to finally be able to get it. But even when you thought the peacock got it, he turned on the panda and started still trying to destroy him. Even after seeing he can't destroy him. He's still trying to fight from a place of hatred. He's still trying to make him his enemy. And so what God was showing me, even though it looked like they had a moment, you being soft and kind with this person and showing this person grace, whoever it is, whether it's that female or whether it's people from your family, you're going to have a conversation with them at some point, and it's going to seem like you had a moment and they have understanding. and you're going to think it's peace and things are squashed. It will not be squashed because that person has too much hatred in their heart, and they will still try to attack you afterwards. And it will be to their own detriment. And that's what happened with the peacock. It was to his own detriment to end up ending his own life. Because there's only so much grace that God is going to have with a person. They keep trying to attack you. You keep turning the other cheek. You keep showing them the love of God. That is going to be the end of them. If they keep trying to attack you and having all this hatred towards you, God will destroy them. Because they've been given chance after chance, and they've just chose wickedness. They just chose hatred, and he'll let them have their choice. It'll be the end of them. And I want to go back to this part with the panda and peacock after he catches the peacock's bomb and throws it back, and it destroys the peacock's ship. And when the panda comes over there, the peacock is just like, how did you do it? How did you do it? How did you find peace? And he's like, I destroyed your parents. I took this from you. I hurt you in this way. How did you do it? Like, how, are you still standing? How are you still you, right? After everything I did to try to scar you, he said, I scarred you. He said, how did you do it? I took away your parents. I scarred you. They thought they scarred you. How did you come back from that? Okay, so the peacock is like, I scarred you. And the panda is like, well, scars heal. And the peacock's like, no, wounds heal. Scars don't heal, okay? And so anyways, basically he was saying none of that stuff matters. The panda's like, you got to let it go. None of this stuff matters. The past does not matter anymore. Anything from the past no longer matters. The only thing that matters now is who you choose to be moving forward. So that's basically the panda's response. Whatever, it don't matter. The scars, whatever, that it heals, it don't matter. Everything from the past, whatever happened in the past no longer matters. The only thing that matters is who you choose to be going forward. The same thing, conversation you had with that woman who was reflecting the prophetic or whatever. And the peacock is like, okay, well, I choose to be this. And then he tries to attack the panda, okay? So even though you're having a heart-to-heart with them, or, or where you are, the place in your life you are in, say y'all have that moment, whoever this you talk to, letting them know you made peace, you're done with the past, you're moving forward with happiness, enjoying your life. You don't even care what happened in the past. So say that female try to come back, talk about your kingdom spouse, all this happened. That don't even matter. It's in the past. And you're focused on the future and being happy and living a life that God has promised and created for you in your future. And letting them know you're in a place of peace. And, that they have a choice to make. If they want to proceed in a place of peace and enjoy their future. And some of them are still going to choose hatred. Some of them still going to, they don't know what else to do. They just have it in them and they need deliverance. And the same thing with relatives who have never wanted to see you in. And who don't want to take responsibility for their actions or the wrong that they have done. They're still going to choose hatred. Now, you forgive them for the past, and that's fine. But if there's hatred in their heart, they still can't be around because they will be set on destroying you. They need deliverance. So you have forgiven them. You're not the problem. It's them. It's not that you're not coming around because you're trying to hold something against them. You can't trust them. You can't sit there and sit at a table with the devil. You can't sit at a table with somebody who has a spirit of the enemy in them, who is waiting to stab you in the back, who is waiting to turn your children against you, who is waiting to see you destroyed to your detriment, who is waiting to harm you in some type of way. You cannot break bread with a person like that, even if you have forgiven them, because of what's in their heart. It's not you, it's their heart. So you love them, you hope and pray they get that out of their heart, but they can't be around you. There are boundaries established. They can't have access to your life because of the hatred in their heart. So even once you made peace with your past, and people who harmed you, and you love them, you don't hate them, you ain't holding nothing against them, they can't be around, not because you're holding something against them, but because of their hard hearts, their hearts of hatred, their hearts of pride, their hearts of foolishness and blindness and death, and the choices that they're choosing to hold on to. You can heal, but you can't cause others to. You can surrender to God, but you can't make other people do it. So like I said, he says you have to let go of that stuff. The panda says you have to let go of that stuff from the past because it just doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is who you choose to be now. So with you and your kingdom spouse moving forward, once y'all have forgiven each other, put everything on the table, this is what we want moving forward. This is the kind of family we want. This is the kind of life we want. God, what do you want for our life? Father, we want what you want for our life, and that's all that matters moving forward. Nothing in the past. Nothing else matters. Nobody's opinion, opinions, outside thoughts, whatever. Someone could say, God told me to tell you. God, just Lord have mercy. Some people may have the audacity to use God to try to speak on your marriage, your life, your family, and they forget them. None of that matters. Nothing from the past matters. It's who you choose to be moving forward. God is going to have allies, ally you. Jesus is Lord. He's going to ally you. You're going to have allies of people after his own heart. People that are not stuck on the past, people that are healed, that have been through the same processing you have, who will speak life, who will add to, and these people will not be blood, and that's okay. But they will be family, okay? And that's what God was showing me for this part. The past doesn't matter. What you want and desire moving forward does. So put your attention, energy, and love and hope on that, and let go of things from the past, and you're trusting God. You're not trusting man. You're not looking backwards. You're looking forward, and you're looking upward towards the Father. That's your inner peace, and that is your star. That is what you follow. That is what you trust, and that is what you're depending on, the Father. Something else God calls to stand out. So, like I said, Tigress had these strong hands. It took her years to get her hands to be so strong to where she felt nothing to be as powerful as she is. Panda just asked her the question, how did her hands get so strong to where, it could be that strong? Like, she took that bullet, but it almost took her out. Right after that, Panda caught the bullet. He's still standing strong, and he threw it right back at him. That cannon almost took her out. She'd been practicing for years. He already surpassed her. What took her longer to gain, he gained it in a shorter period of time and surpassed her all at once in an instant. And guess what? She still loved him and was happy for him. It was like, that was so hard. That was pretty hardcore. She was in his circle. You're going to be surrounded by people who are not jealous of you. They won't be jealous of your success. Even say they're ahead of you in some area and it took them years to get here and you surpassed them overnight in that area. Not only did you get on their level, but you surpassed them in that area. They're still going to be happy for you. There won't be an inch of jealousy. This is true, genuine love and family, okay? Say they had a gift. Say they had a gift of deliverance or a gift of healing. And you finally, you ask them, how long did it take you to master the gift of healing that God gave you, to master the gift of deliverance God gave you? Oh, it took me this amount of years. And God is just now talking to you about it. And he's just giving you that gift. You may get to a place where you understand it and master it like that in a shorter period of time and have an authority level higher than theirs or higher than they've seen or something that took them years to get. You just get it. You're going to surpass and pass certain people up in different areas and even people around you. But guess what? These people have hearts like God. So they won't be jealous and they won't be upset if you pass them up. They will be happy for you. And they'll be like, hey, you got to teach me how to do that, right? They'll be happy for you. It won't be, you won't have to worry about jealousy or envy in your own camp. And then also, even the master, the teacher, his teacher that came back to fight, he's like, you found inner peace, I see, from him catching them cannons. He said, at such a young age, like, really? Because it took him years to find it. He's older than Panda, and he's just not finding it, and Panda is way younger than him, and he has it already. But he's still happy for him. He's not jealous. There's no sense of jealousy anywhere in their camp. They're one team, and they're not competing against each other. And they're okay with their positions. Panda is constantly elevating, passing people up, and they still love him. The people in his camp, from the ones he once looked up to, he once looked up to Tigress. Now he's like her master. He's constantly passing people up. Now he's her teacher. Now he's doing more than she can do. He looked up to his teacher, the one he calls his master, and now he's surpassing him in learning as well. So it's people in this camp. You're going to better do some of the things they can do at a greater speed, and you will surpass them, and they will still love you. And that's okay. You will be jumping positions swiftly. And it will still be all love from the people that God has called you to be associated with, to be family to you, okay? You will have a family. You will have love. You will have friendship like you've never experienced before. And it will be people after God's own heart that you never have to worry about stabbing you in the back or competing with you or feeling jealous of you. You don't have to be afraid to grow or share your wins with them, because they're going to cheer right along with you, genuinely. Okay, it's also important to mention that Panda is humble and respectful. Okay, even he's constantly being elevated, and during the process, he is still humble and respectful. When his master is like, I see you've attained inner peace at such a young age. Like it took you shorter time than it took me. Like it's crazy, right? Panda is still responding humbly. He's like, I had a really good teacher. He's still humble, respectful. He doesn't think higher of himself than he ought to. He's going from elevated place to elevated place, being able to do more than anybody else could. Nobody else could catch a cannon with their hands and throw it back. Nobody else had that amount of control or power, creativity to even think they could do something like that, of that magnitude. And he's still humble throughout the entire process, humble and respectful and grateful. Okay, so after that, when he returns home to his dad, he can return and embrace him because now he knows who he is. Okay, he tells his dad, I found the village, that I was born in and raised in, and basically he can let him back in now. He knows who he is or whatever. So anyways, what God was bringing to mind, he said, basically this scene, he's like, I know who I am. I'm your son, to his dad, and he embraces him, and he's able to embrace him. God was showing me after you go through everything you need to go through and you find inner peace, because he wasn't able to do that until after he found inner peace, after he was able to accept his past and know that that is not his present, that is not his future, after he's able to let go of the past and be healed from the past and be solidified in his present and future, right? Have hope and peace and joy and gratefulness for what he had now and move forward, looking forward and ahead in his purpose and calling with the love and family God had given him and surrounded him by. Now that he was there in that place in his life and he knew who he was and he understood what he had and what he was doing and had that peace, that God-given peace, acceptance, forgiveness, joy, balance, right? The enemy tried to attack him in different ways from his past and things of unforgiveness or, just trauma. Now that he had dealt with the trauma and he knew who he was, he said, I know who I am. Now he could let his dad back in. So once you deal with that trauma, like when you and your kingdom spouse come together, this is what's coming to mind. Y'all going to have to heal, right? Y'all going to have to overcome some things, the attacks of the enemy, and you're going to have to heal. And when that trauma, you're going to have to battle that trauma in the process. And not just from the trauma your kingdom spouse caused, but family, everybody around you, from childhood, everything. You're going to have to battle it and overcome it and stand 10 toes down knowing who you are in God. And so once you get to that place, battling that trauma, coming to the understanding of who you are, knowing who you are to where your family you were born into can't tell you nothing different. Their opinions of you don't matter. The way they try to treat you or remind you of your past don't matter, because you got people in your life, family, who will try to bring up your past to put you back down because they don't like your place of elevation. So you're going to get to a place, they're going to have to stay their distance and have boundaries with them to the where they don't know your business, they're not around, while you are able to develop in who you are in God and know who you are and be 10 foot, like your feet are planted, and you'll be healed from your past. You and your spouse will heal from your past. Be focused on your future, joy, happiness, to where they can't come in and destroy it, because y'all are solidified. Y'all are solid. Y'all know who y'all are. Y'all know what y'all doing. Y'all know y'all purpose. Y'all both are healing and walking into the purpose of God. And all they gonna have to re-meet y'all, okay? They're going to have to get a reintroduction to who you are, to the new you, to who you truly are, because they never knew you. They never knew y'all. So they're getting a reintroduction. They will not be allowed to come back in. And this is for only some people. Poe's dad was not trying to backstab him. Poe's dad actually did love him. So some people will be able to come back in and get a reintroduction. Those who still want to destroy you, they can't come back. They got to stay gone. And even if they come along because they are relatives of another relative or whatever, so they come along with their little family, there's boundaries for them, okay? Because you already know some people God showed coming back around who got that hate in their heart, and God going to have to deal with them. They're going to be coming around with their people or whatever, but God showed you their heart, and he showed you not to trust them, and he showed you definitely to keep them on the outs as much as possible when it comes to your personal business, and definitely don't take no advice from them. And you already know who I'm talking about, the people I'm talking about. So anyways, now he could let them back in his life because he knew who he was. Your marriage will be solid. Y'all will know who y'all are, what y'all are doing, and outside people can't shake it and destroy it. Okay? You already gonna have to deal with attacks from the enemy. You don't need the other people from your family or people who think they know you, or outside people you're not even sure about yet if they're going to be welcomed into your life moving forward. You don't need their opinions, and you, even the people from the church, you don't need none of that. None of them trying to, poke at it, say what it should be. So you're going to have distance from them for a while until y'all are in that place of inner peace, of balance with the Father, and healed from the past and ready to move forward into your future, where it can't be shaken by outside people. And you'll know when you're at that place. Okay, so now it was safe for Poe's dad to come back because Poe now knew the truth. He knew the truth. So no lie could tell him any different. He knew the truth of who he is. He said, I know who I am now. So now his dad could come back in his life. He could embrace his father in his life. He didn't have to push him away. Now he could embrace him again because he knows who he is. And in knowing who he is, he decided, I am your son. I will still be your son. He could have made a choice and said, no, I'm no longer your son, but he decided to still count himself a relative to him. He decided to still let him back in his life because his father he wasn't a bad father, He wanted the best for him. So with some people, they may have made some mistakes. Sure, everybody does. This is who I am. This is what I believe. This is what I stand for. But when I come to the place of knowing who I am and making peace and moving forward, I will be able to say this and establish this, that, hey, I decide I still want you in my life or I don't. Okay? A lot of things have been tested, and God will grant me that power. And in me knowing who I am, that these people won't better affect me. They won't better try to change me, cause me to doubt myself, or take me backwards, because I will be solid and knowing who I am, to where talk is not take me backwards or cause confusion for me or cause me confusion emotionally. They're going to have to get in where they fit in, or they can stay out. Okay? I'm going to be who I am. And I know who I am. I'm going to be in a place I know who I am. And this is where we're at. And anybody, who doesn't fit in with that, they don't have to be let back in, basically, okay? It's basically what I'm saying. Poe decided, I'm still your son, okay? Basically, that's what I'm saying. I get to decide if these people are still anything to me or not afterwards, okay? And this is literally unless God tells me otherwise, because some people, God will tell me to let back in my life because I can handle it. Before, I couldn't handle it. Like right now, I can't handle it because they're a detriment to me getting into who I am, knowing who I am, because they try to keep me from it. They try to destroy me with their words, with their views of me. They see me in a very little way, in a bad light. So that's been getting in the way of me getting in position for all these years. So it's some people God may instruct me to let back in, and if he does, then I will for that purpose. But it will be when I can handle it that he will instruct me to let them back in, and he knows when I can handle them. And in some people's lives, he may use me, which is why he may instruct me to let them in, so he can use me to help, wherever he leads me to. But I will be able to handle it at that point, though, because I will know who I am, and that person can no longer affect me like they did in the past, okay? Once he let them back into his life, his father back into his life, they were going off to cook a meal together. He had brought ingredients that his father could use for his soup. He had brought radishes, right? So you're going to help some of them. God may tell you to put some of them back in your life so you can help them create some things, bring life to some things, okay? You're going to bring some ingredients that they need to help them create and bring life to some things, okay? That y'all may share or build together, or just to help them because they may need help, and God may use you to be the help, okay? And then while they were going off to cook together, to help his father cook, it goes off into a different land where his actual dad, his real dad, is awakened to the fact that his son is alive, right? He has like this vision of knowing that his son is alive. He stands up and he says, he was covered by a cover. He stands up and reveals himself as a giant panda and says, my son is alive. And then you see this flush green land, beautiful land filled with pandas, because everybody thought the pandas were dead. And so it's like in this place, It's almost like you getting to a place of knowing who you are in God, and then it's tested by, you establishing the boundaries and stuff with your family. But then when you are able to let certain people back in and they can't shake you and they can't make you forget who you are, people who once did or try to bring up your past, it no longer works. You know who you are, and that's not changing. You and your family are solid. That's not changing. Once you get to that place, it's like God, maybe like my son lives. Okay? You went through all this, a rebirth process, and it's like now my son lives, my child is alive. And there's this inheritance that is yours that you didn't even know that was yours. It's this lush green land. His father lived, his actual father lived on this lush green land. It looked like a rich land filled with, beautiful bright green grass and harvest, and land full of plentiful land with other pandas, people they thought was extinct. They didn't know people like them were still alive, right? They were pronounced as dead. It looked miraculous, this land, because it hadn't been shown at all in this movie or the previous one. The land was brighter than any of the lands that they've shown so far in this movie. Once you know who you are, that's established. It's like God is like, my child lives. They're awake. They know who they are. My creation lives. And this is their inheritance. This is what I have for them. Right? The next movie, Poe's father comes to find him. On Kung Fu Panda 3, his father comes to find him. My child lives. I had to go find him. I got to show him his inheritance. I had to show him where he comes from. This is his to inherit. Right? So it's just, you go from glory to glory and continual growth. Okay? Jesus is Lord. Okay, that was the message I got from this movie. And that was about it. Unless God give me something else, I'm done. That was it. That was it. Okay, you guys, that was it. That was the message that I got while watching that movie. I was so tired. I went through it the recording is long, but I was going through it so fast because I was so tired, and it was a long movie. But I really hope it blessed whoever it was for. As I was listening to it again, something that God shed light on. And something that I've seen in my dreams too. For some people that are entering into a kingdom marriage, the way this movie ended and how God has been talking about us receiving an inheritance. For some people, you may not see it right away. And I'm just adding this just because this is something that God brought to mind. Something God showed me is, as some people are entering into these kingdom marriages, that He wants them to build and grow together first. It's going to help them develop some things in their marriage, right? So it's two people learning to become one. And some of the things that y'all have to go through in the beginning to build and grow is going to help y'all develop as one and depend on each other as teammates, as a partner, right? It's going to bring you closer together. It's going to develop a certain level of trust and dependency, healthy level of trust and dependency amongst each other. But that's something God just brought up. So the way that movie ended with leaning towards how, Poe's father was still alive and he lived in this rich land, which was basically, showing that part 3, Poe was about to finally he's going to see his inheritance, basically, where he was from, the land where the pandas were from, because he was told that they were all, basically extinct, right? He was told all the pandas were gone and he was the last one. So the pandas live and they've been hiding out in this secret rich land that is it's filled with green grass. It's beautiful. It's like the nicest place I've seen on that movie. And the first thing God brought to mind was inheritance, the father's inheritance. So this is Poe's actual dad. God is our first father. And so, because He created us, right? And so something He brought to mind is people entering into these marriages. He may bring the inheritance part a little later, or He may bring it over time, of some of the things that He's told you and promised you over time. And that's just something He brought to mind. And that's not for everybody, you guys. That's for some people, and that's something He brought to mind. I've seen people meet up in different ways, the way He showed me in dreams. But I just wanted to add that because that's something He brought to mind. And however He does it, He's going to do it for our best. For our best. But I know it's going to be a process, just like God had you alone to himself and he was processing you and developing you all that time. When he brings these marriages together, he's going to want y'all to use wisdom and boundaries and have y'all developing together for a time as well until y'all are solid. Okay, and Jesus is Lord. That's a whole nother message, a whole nother word, but that's just some things that came to mind, so I want to add on. And I love y'all. I love y'all so much, y'all. And I hope this helped or blessed whoever it was for. Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know if this was helpful. Y'all know I normally don't ask, but let me know if it was helpful, okay? All right, y'all. Love y'all so much. I love y'all so much, and y'all be blessed.